Yo.
Right?
Hey. Hey, what's going on?
Yeah. Try. There we go. Well, how's it going? It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Let me just quickly grab some. We're not live yet, are we?
Huh? Yeah, we are.
Not going live. Oh, we are. Right. How's it going?
Pretty good. How about you?
I'm a little bit out of it. I'm
Didn't
alright.
had too many millionaire cannabis parties?
Yeah, well, kind of. The lead of the guy. I'm going to close that door.
Huh?
The big cheese that runs it for like the last month, ever since I've known him, he's always like, I wanna fucking go fucking dancing. Wanna fucking go fucking dancing tonight. And then you know what us lot are like no one wants to go to a club.
Yeah.
Fuck that. So he never gets to go. So like I took him rollerblading. And because he wants to go dancing, you really have to go to a gay bar, don't you, I guess?
I suppose, yeah.
I mean, if you actually want to dance, that's what you really have to do. No one really dances anywhere else, they just stand there and look cool.
Yeah.
It's like if he really wants to go dancing, it's going to be like a fag bar, rollerblading. And it's like, yeah, we'll fucking go to a fucking gay bar. So he made me go around there like Friday night. I was trying to get out of it. You know how it is, you try and like, let's do this instead, let's just stay at home and drink tea. Let's play chess. Let's make some weed. So then he walked down the shop and brought he doesn't drink, apparently. Well, I don't think he drank. But he brought like a bottle of rum. Then once he got halfway through that, I was like, yeah, he's got a point. I should really like take him out. We should really have like a beer. I'll take him out, buy him a couple of beers. Let's go to that trendy pub. Like down there, it's a really trendy pub. So we went in there and it was pretty shit. It's like 30 quid for 2 rounds for 2 people. 30 quid.
Wow.
2 bottles of beer and 2 gins. Yeah, then we went to the rollerblade party and we took one of those dab boxes with. You know, those boxes you can put cannabis oils in,
Yeah.
the really strong shit, and dab it. So I was like warning them, going like, we can't go clubbing because you're gonna need ID. They're gonna take a photo of you, and they're gonna search you. It's like, I fucking no fucking way. I was like, yeah, dude, it's pretty much the law now. If you want to go out drinking, you've got to show your passport, get scanned in. That goes to Big Brother, gives you the go ahead, and then they take an up-to-date photo of you. It's like, fuck that. So we went there and told the doorman, look, you ain't taking a photo of me, I'm not showing you fucking ID, don't matter who I am, and you're not searching me. And they were like cool with it. They've never had anyone like tell them how it is.
That's funny.
And like I was like Sam, I was like, yeah, I live in the 80s, bro. Like I'm not bringing a fuck.
Uh. Oh, you still there?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry. It's for some reason Facebook was acting like it was disconnecting while it's showing me full bars. This whole
Yeah, so anyway, we got in there.
uh
Because we had these handheld dabbing kits, we must have hit about 300, 400. You know, it's like when you drink and you just get excited because you're doing something you shouldn't be doing.
yeah.
It just ended up hitting it so hard. I must have done like 300, 500 quid's worth of extract. And the club fucking, the whole club fucking stank of dank, man. But I mean, it's dank. I mean,
Thank you.
when I walked home, that's all I could smell. Like I stunk of dank, absolutely reeked of it. But no one could like figure it out, obviously, because like one little hit on this dab, it's like having 5 blunts.
Yeah.
So if you have like 6 large hits of it in one go, fucking stinks. And like all the trendies love it, don't they? So they're all like dancing near us because they must be getting fucked just off those fumes. Like, if you don't smoke weed, you're gonna get fucked up just off these fumes. So yeah, I was drinking and I was just hitting it hard on the fade. It's just funny when you're in this gay club, like he was like, why aren't you fucking dancing? What the fuck are you there for? I was like, dude, no one's having a better time than me. What are you on about? Like, I don't need to be, like, I do dance, but I try and explain to him, like, this isn't fucking music, bro. Like, I don't want to go down this, like, road and sound like a dick. But come on, this isn't even fucking close to music. I'm not being harsh. Like, it doesn't register as music. It's just an electronic drum kit, and I haven't had one instrument in, like, hours now.
Yeah.
If they play, like, a real I'll dance, I promise you. Like, they won't be able to stop me. Like, I'm high as fuck, I'm drunk. But, like, this, you can't dance to a robot, bro.
Well, then that's why, like...
I was like, look around you, no one's dancing well. Everyone's on these other drugs. Like, the fags are in... It was weird just watching them. Because most of them were just fag guys that just couldn't get laid. I don't think they are fags, I just think they're guys that are desperate to get laid and they can't.
Well, that's why
and realize, like, all the women that weren't lessies, or even the lessies, they were like all over me by like 3 in the morning. Because like I'm the only macho guy there.
Yeah.
Like I'm not buying it. Like I'm okay in a fag bar, but I'm not buying into the fag culture.
I've seen that where it's like I had a friend of mine where they used to do like a open mic night, but for DJs, where it's like DJs could come and you could get like a half-hour set, and it was at this gay bar, and then there was like a little wine bar right next to it, and I would do it because 9 times out of 10, after I did a half-hour there, I would get asked to do a opening set for another DJ, and that would be a paying gig. So it was just really good for networking, essentially. Like, those nights themselves were never that crazy or that packed, but there was one night in particular where my ex at the time, her new boyfriend was hitting me up saying he wanted to fight me and all this other stuff. So it's like, I was like, all right, well, I'm out at this gig. Like, if you want to come bring it, you can bring it. But I'm just going to be behind the turntables laughing as this whole club full of homos whoops your ass from the front door to the back door. But then Brett showed up, and so he's hanging out with me while I'm DJing. And because the back patio areas of these two clubs were just separated by a little fence, like, he made this joke where it was like, the moment I got on the turntables, he said it was like hot straight women just came up out of the floor like it was the Thriller video or something, because I ended up talking everyone from the other club into coming over for my set. So it was just hysterical how it was like there's no one on the dance floor, and then the moment I went on, it was just packed with women, and they were just kind of all over everyone. Mates that
didn't go because yeah, I mean, like, I know what it's like to want to go dance and not have any mates that want to, so it's like, yeah, I'll fucking go with and just keep you company. So that's all you need sometimes, isn't it? Just
yeah.
Company in a club, whatever. So all my mates were like, you can't dab in a club, like, you're gonna get kicked out in 2 seconds. It's like, that's why we're going to a gay bar. Because, like, fags get away with fucking anything.
Yeah.
Now, like honestly, the philosophy worked.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
it's... give a shit because it's a fag bar.
Yeah, no, that's...
Like, if we did this in any other bar, man, we'd be arrested. Like, we wouldn't get thrown out, we'd get arrested.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised. The only time I ever had a incident at a gay bar, and I'm telling you, it completely surprised me, because my friend Chrissy was trying to get me to go into the girls' room with her to do coke, and I went in behind her. There were 2 women up front at the mirrors, and I was just like, hey, ladies, I'm in here with my friend. I'm just keeping her company. If either of you mind, I'll go. And they were like, no, it's fine, whatever. Next thing I know, those securities got me by the back of the neck, and they're like, you can't go into the ladies' room. And I was just like, what if I identify as a lady? And they were like, doesn't matter, you know, this, and that. And I was like, I was surprised, because I was like,
ma'am!
Yeah,
ma'am!
That's what I should have said. But I was surprised, because I have had it where I did one of those open mic nights. I was falling asleep at a table. Next thing I know, someone puts their arm on my shoulder, and they're like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Next thing I know, they're like, do you want to do some K? I'm like, I'm tired. Is that gonna help? They're like, if you only do a little bit. I'm like, okay. Like, and it was
Yeah,
just like drugs just being handed out. Like, no one cares. You're right. Gay bars, it's like
I
there
just
there
look
are
like
no
such a
rules.
kingpin 'cause there's just this giant cloud of smoke, like a giant, but no one really knows where it's actually coming from. Can't tell. It could be anyone. And I was just like giggling and all that, because I'm being sneaky. Like we always joke about the Jews, like Owen Benjamin, tell me all the Owen
Yeah.
Benjamin jokes. So my nickname's Sneaky
That's
because I'm a Jew. Right?
funny.
So each time we do it, just start giggling, going because we're being so naughty. And it stinks. Like I was so high, I had religious moments. Like when I got home and on the walk home, I was that high. My whole body was just a little bit alcohol and just THC.
Yeah. Well,
Like I don't know what these extracts are, but they're like through the roof, man.
yeah.
And like I was
Yeah.
going to do a podcast with them to try and explain that cannabis smoking isn't cannabis smoking anymore.
No, it's
Something
not.
completely different. Go down that road.
Well, and that's the thing. I actually was looking into this because I was reading up on this. A friend of mine is suffering with the stomach condition, and the doctors keep thinking it's marijuana related because there are a handful of different stomach conditions and stuff like that that do stem from a overaccumulation of cannabinoids in fat cells and stuff. And I mean, even within weed itself, everyone just sort of focuses on the CBD and the THC, but it's like there are other compounds in there. And then, there's the whole making of the dabs thing is like they're synthesizing them through other processes. Here's this is a correlation to think about. There is a I think it was like Russia and the Ukraine. There was this drug going around called crocodile, and it basically got that name because after you become addicted to it, your skin just basically turns into like lizard crocodile-esque skin. And what it is people, yeah, and people are taking prescription opiates, like Vicodin, Percocet, things like that, and then they are cooking them with a chemical like a like a butane or like a gasoline type chemical, a petrol oil of sorts. And then after they do this synthesizing thing, they then inject it. And it's like, it's turning a prescription pill, which you would take and have, very little to none negative side effects because it's just aspirin and opiate. And then it's making your skin rot and fall off. So, it's like the same thing with the dabs and stuff where it's like, you're taking weed and THC and all this stuff, but then processing it through an ethanol or whatever, and then just sort of ramping it up. It's basically like what crack is to coke, but for weed.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. And the kingpin was like agreeing with me, and all the weed had to try and support it. I was surprised he was on my side. It was like, nah, this is pretty close to crack
Yeah.
and heroin. It's not like really much. And I get it. It gets really addictive.
Well, and that's
The
the
other
thing.
thing is, I wouldn't mind like it.
Well,
Like, I
just
wouldn't
real
mind a
quick,
kick in my life.
the thing I was going to say is that's what I worry about with friends of mine who are in these areas where it's like they're, like Colorado and stuff like that, where they're growing, because I see people that are growing weed, selling weed, and then all they're doing is dabs and extracts and concentrates. And I'm like, you don't even get high off the shit you grow anymore. Like, you need it to be processed through this other stuff. And like, that's what happens with crackheads. Most crackheads have no interest in doing coke because the coke isn't enough of a kick in the
Yeah,
ass
it's
for
more
them.
because THC only takes about 30 hours to get out your system, like mentally, to get that clarity back, to get your tolerance back down. It's
Yeah,
about 30 hours. You just don't smoke for 30 hours and the tolerance will be quite a lot down. But they don't. It's like, I guess it's all the time. That's a little bit where I'm. Yeah, but I wouldn't mind a chick in my life. When I was at the gay bar, the women were loving it. In fact, I was just sat there, not giving a fuck, not trying to do these shitty little fucking moves.
yeah,
Fuck that. I'm just sat there, just giggling away. Like the amount of shit you see, like what the rollerbladers get up to in a fag club to try and get attention is hilarious. More so when they're fucked up on drugs, they're falling over, spilling drinks on
yeah.
themselves. I'm just there blasting this thing. And I think the women were getting high on the fumes. It becomes like trendy, doesn't it? It's like, oh, this must be like you must be like the trendiest thing. So they were obviously getting fucked up. But all the women were like fucking obese as fuck. And they're
Yeah.
like trying to hug it, going, why didn't you, do you want to like dance us? Why didn't you cheer up? We're trying to make you happy, putting baseball caps on me. I'm like, dude, I'm just happy, like blasting this thing. Like, no one's having more fun than me right now.
I've noticed that there are a lot of straight
And I
women
don't understand why the women again, what's wrong with you? Why don't you get up? It's like, I look like the Joker.
that
I'm that high. The grin on my face, I look like Jack Nicholson in the Joker. I was going to take a photo of myself, I just had this permanent grin on my face, man.
I mean, I
Yeah,
have
it's
noticed that there are a lot of straight women that prefer going to gay bars and stuff because it's like they like the male attention, they like being surrounded by the guys, but they also like that not every guy in there is desperate to throw the dick at them.
They are. That's what they've gone. That's the conclusion I got. There weren't many fag guys there. They were just fags because they couldn't. They did not understand women at all.
Yeah.
And you could tell by the way they. I'm not being harsh. The way they dress. There's lots of men that are in their 30s, and I'm sorry to say it, but you're dressing like you're 15, bro.
Yeah.
And it's just not that cool. Like, just dress like you're an adult, dude, and you'll be surprised. Just put like a shirt and a jumper on, a pair of jeans, and like I'm not even saying like go overboard, but.
Yeah, but like,
But you can't be wearing stuff that I was wearing when I was 13, man. It's just not. It's
yeah.
not cool. It's childish. You're a big baby.
Well, yeah, and you know what's funny about that? The girl I work with at the restaurant, she goes to the local liberal arts college, and she said, she was like, you know, I don't know what it is, she said, but I honestly feel like most of the kids I go to school with dress like they're toddlers. And I just started laughing, but she's kind of right, because it's like they'll wear like kind of bold mixed matched patterns that don't really go and like overalls and all these weird
Nintendo
like
t-shirts,
yeah like
Star Wars t-shirts.
yeah
I love Star Wars, Nintendo. And I'm there with my Trump hat, bro.
yeah, and it's like it's one thing, you know, like I have a handful of Mega Man t-shirts and I'll wear them when I'm out and about and stuff like that, but if I was going out like to a club or at night, like I'm wearing a button up. I'm not wearing like just a t-shirt with some video game graphic on it or something. Like there's a time and place.
Yeah, I'm taking my
like,
mate dancing. And
yeah.
everyone's like, are you a fat? Like, even the girls are asking me, like, what are you doing? It's like, oh, my mate wants to go out dancing, so I'm taking him dancing. And I'm like, Pass is there, we'd call him Pass, with his long hair, just like in the club. He was dancing all night. And that's the other, he's got to go to a fag club, because most bars close at 3. I know my mate hasn't danced in months. He's going to want to dance till 6 in the morning. This place is open till 6.
Yeah.
And I can, like, try and sneak out maybe 3 or 4, you know? You know, it's like, are you gay then? Are you two a night? And I was like, I don't know if he's a fag or not. I think he wants a woman, but he just wants to dance, so he came to a fag bar. And he's like, what, you call us fags? It's like, yeah, look around you. This
That's
isn't
funny.
fucking, it's not even a fag bar, it's just a degenerate bar. It's got nothing to do with homosexuality anymore. It's just the most degenerate. And people that are so don't get women. They're just the guys. The women are the guys, and the guys are the women. It's fucking insane.
Well, and that's the main issue, and that even, I mean, that's like in retrospect, that's like been the problem with a lot of relationships I would be in, where it's like, you know, I'm one where it's like even within like music groups, like I would join like hip hop groups and stuff, and I would see what everyone is doing, and I'm always the type where it doesn't matter if it's a music group or at a job or something, I'll look around for it's like what isn't being done, where is there a void in the chain of productivity, and then I'll just do whatever needs to be done to fill that gap. So it's like if I'm in a music group and everyone's putting out, you know, music as far as CDs, I'll be like, okay, well, I'll do digital distribution because I know more about that than everyone else, so I'll do whatever isn't being done already, basically. So you apply that to a relationship context. If I'm dating a girl that's very masculine and is like, you know, basically has their path on straight and is like, you know, I'm doing this, I'm going this direction with or without you, you know, essentially the way a guy would, where they're like, here's my plan, this is how I'm going to provide X, Y, and Z, well then I'm going to naturally have to take the sort of feminine, okay, well I'll support you and, you know, do this and that and, you know, help with whatever isn't being handled on your end. Like, and it throws off that dynamic where it's like, if you have a male take it, or if you have a female taking the dominant provider position, or trying to at least, it sort of forces the male into the feminine role where it's like, and that's the thing they say where that, you know, I think it's I don't know if it was Camille Paglia or what's the other one, the feminist teacher, oh god, Christina Hoff Sommers, where they basically say women civilize men, but it's because the role women play, when they play that feminine role, it forces the male to be the provider and to do all those things. And it's like, it's just one of those things where it's like, if the female's already taking that role, you can't have two people doing the same thing, because then there's just a void that's not going to be filled whatsoever. And like you said, it's all inverted basically. Where you have the... What are you saying?
Go on.
I was just going to say inverted, where the men are essentially being forced into a feminized position.
Yeah, I'm just still... the only funny thing was this one girl came to me, she's going, oh, can I hit that... One girl figured it out, she's like, can I hit one of those dabs? I was like, do you smoke weed? She goes, I smoke joints. I was like, I can't really. And she's like, why not? I was like, if I give you one hit on this, it's gonna fuck you up. Like, you're gonna be coughing, not for like a minute or two, but maybe like 40 minutes if you've not done this before. Like, you want to do this at home at first. Like, this is strong. Because when I first started doing it, I was coughing for an hour.
Yeah.
It's taken me a while to get used to this. And I was like, just hand around the fumes. Like, I'll take a couple of hits and blow it your way, and you'll get fucked up. And I'm just shocked at how strong these concentrates actually are. Like, we had this, he had it in these little tubs. So it wasn't extract. It was like a brown kind of, looked like just dog shit, basically. You can just scoop it up, tiny little bit, put it in the fate, and just let it burn. Just hit it. It was so clean though, like there was no, like once I went to sleep and woke up the next day, there was no haze at all, like nothing. It must be like super, super clean.
Yeah.
So yeah,
well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, as far as news stuff, because I feel like we should mention some. I you know, all I've been seeing on YouTube is basically stuff like, I feel like England and British politics is sort of dominating.
It's stopped now.
Has it?
Nah, it's stopped now in England. No one cares about Brexit anymore.
Well, not even the Brexit thing, but I'm saying between the campaigns of like Sargon and then Tommy Robinson, I've been seeing lots of stuff on that, and it's like, you know, the Tommy Robinson thing I feel really conflicted over because of the stuff we've covered about him basically being Israeli intelligence and stuff like that.
It looks rigged to me because I was reading the English newspapers on it today, and it's completely backfired. That Asian kid that threw a milkshake over him was like, oh, I'm getting death threats, I'm getting this. And everyone in the comments is like, well, the cops should have dealt with you. If the cops had dealt with you, you probably wouldn't be getting death threats.
Yeah.
And you can't just chuck a milkshake at the guy and not expect that.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, because there's this acid attack thing going on. If you get liquid over you, it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
It's not just liquid these days. So he brought it upon himself, he bragged about it, and that's why I'm thinking this is an inside job, because the press can't be that stupid that they know that story's going to backfire. They're laughing at Tommy. In all the comments, I was shocked. Like, most people hate Tommy, but now you're forced, even if you don't like him, to go, hang on, I'm on Tommy's side on this one. Like all the comments, yeah, I was shocked this morning. Tommy, let's go. Well, if you threw an egg at Jeremy Corbyn, that guy got 18 months.
Yeah.
So you can't just go around punching people and throwing shit at them and not expect to be arrested. And especially in this country, he pushed two women. It was like he pushed two women and then threw something at Tommy, and the cops did nothing. So
Yeah.
of course it's going to get done. It's not some.
Well, and then at
So
that,
yeah, I just think it just that the press that stupid that they knew that was going to be the response. Like it's like the Trump thing. You're forced to defend Trump now
yeah.
because it's so ridiculous.
Well, and even at that, you know, like I saw Tommy saying in his video, this is only going to give the impression to other people that it's okay to do so. Like that, if someone else now in the future is like, oh, I want to dump, you know, a milkshake or whatever, or throw an egg at
Well,
Tommy
no, 'cause it hasn't happened like that. People are figuring out now that if you do that to Tommy Robinson, people are going to find out who you are within minutes because that's the nature of the internet.
Yeah.
And you're going to get doxxed for it, and you're going to get an uppercut from Tommy if he gets it in. It's going to punch. I mean, it's crowded, so he might not get to punch him, but you saw it. It's going to punch. It's going to take that uppercut shot.
Yeah.
His head goes down. Tommy takes the cut. I don't know if he made contact or not, but it looks like he did.
Yeah.
You got to hand it to Tommy. He will throw a punch at least. He is proper British.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's the thing. That's the thing I sort of like was surprised about in looking at the crowds around him, is that it's like I almost didn't understand. I mean, I guess they said the police took him away and left him off at the train station, but I would just think if someone tried something like that, you'd have someone in his crew try to jump you or something after the fact.
Which crew? What, Tommy's crew?
Tommy's, yeah, like a supporter or something.
Nah.
I mean, that's what would happen at Trump rallies, essentially, is you would have people try.
Maybe if it was a genuine threat you had to worry about. If it's just some jumped up kid now, because you'd look bad doing that.
Yeah.
Just jump some little shit.
Well, I mean, that's what would happen at. That's what would happen at Trump rallies, though, where you would have people start acting out, and then next thing you know, like a fan or something would be the one to knock you out, and. You know, it was the crowd controlling the crowd. So, I don't know.
Not for that. Yeah. Yeah, I guess we're a bit more...
We're docile in that aspect.
Guess we're so small, it's easy to keep the community in order. It's only a small country.
Yeah.
So if you get a team of people, it's only a big firm's like 15 people in it, you can keep them in order.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so there's that.
You just want to use violence against proper threats, not just. I mean, it's all right getting one uppercut in, but
and then
pretty bad. You want a good public image, man.
Other than that, though, I think all the Sargon stuff is very interesting. How the media and I like his responses are great. It's the
same with Tommy, though. Yeah.
What do you mean by it's the same? Though?
I don't know. I'm getting a bit disappointed. Jack put me off quite a bit. I've been following Jack. He's put me off the whole thing. Because I should get him on. I still like the guy, but I think he's either misleading people for his own benefit, or he's just not that bright. Because he's going for UKIP now, and when he does his live thing, there's only like 10 people watching. I'm not having a dig. It's like our channel. There's only like 10 people watching. It's like super chat, send me a super chat. Super chat, and I'll read it. Super chat. It's like, dude, there's only 9 other people watching. Like, do you know, like super chat? It's like, I really need the money as well. I really need support. It's like, dude, you're a posh kid in London. Come on. And that just bugged me a bit. And that's when I started. I don't know why. It just bugged me a lot. I thought their coverage in Paris was shit. And the same thing. I'm being honest. It was shit. It's just Martina. Outside of Notre Dame going, it's burnt down, we're here to report, send us money. And that was it. We're staying in adequate accommodation. So where's the reporting, fuckers?
Well, you know...
And then after that, the thing... But I'll get onto it because I'm having like harsh digs. But his political ideology seems to be that UKIP is everything, and what's happened in England is Nigel Farage isn't in UKIP anymore. He's started the Brexit Party. And what Farage's philosophy is that it's a single party issue, it's single party politics. We're just doing Brexit. we're having no other policies, just doing Brexit. And Jack's on the UKIP side, and let's be honest, Farage will not take Jack. Won't happen because of Jack's background. I'm not saying whether that's right or wrong, but
Yeah, just fact of the
that's
matter.
probably why Jack had problems in UKIP. I'm surprised UKIP have taken, but well, not surprised. But... So he keeps saying that single politics policies never work. You can't. He's battering Farage for it. That's not an argument until it doesn't make sense because you've just written a book. What's the title of your book? Theresa May and Brexit. So Brexit is bigger than you're not getting it. Brexit is bigger than any political policy in the whole of UK. Brexit's everything. It's bigger than politics. If you have a single policy party, at least everyone can unite on that. Labour, Conservatives, Scottish,
I think it's
capitalist.
I think
It's
it's
just
also
Brexit.
it's also very like I think it sort of obfuscates what Brexit is to think it's a single policy because it ties into so many other policies where it's basically like
Yeah.
it's like the idea of like, are you going to be self-governing or are you going to be governed by other nations?
Well, not even that, but we had a vote on it and it's not happening. It's not going to happen. I mean, I said that from day
Well,
one.
yeah,
And now it's
that's
obvious. Everyone get
that's definitely true
so it
too.
is a single party policy. It works perfectly well.
Yeah.
And Jack will just write back to me going, "Oh, you don't get it. You're not listening to me." And I was like, "Okay, well, let me give you some other examples of single party policies that work, that do exist." He's saying that they've never worked. What's the NRA?
Yeah,
Single, and it's not a party, but it's single policy politics. The
yeah.
NRA is just one policy, Second Amendment, and it's one of the most successful campaign,
Yeah.
if not political movement within America. And all you talk about is the left, the left, the left. What's the weapon they use against you every time? It's racism, sexism, transphobia, Islamophobic. They're all single politic issues.
Yeah, no,
They always use them against
you're
you
completely
over
right.
and
I
over
was
and
about
over.
to say that. I was
So
about to
when
say
you
that
say they
towards.
don't have any strength to them,
I was about to
and
say that
Jack,
about abortion and the
no,
Women's March.
this is why I'm worried about Jack, because Jack is way smarter than me, way smarter, way more educated. This has got to be a purpose move just to get just get your face up, just because you haven't got a job, mate. I don't think he really believes in it.
See,
I just think it's because Farage won't take you.
I don't know.
And now we're fucked because we need Brexit and we've got UKIP and we've got the Farage party. Farage was the leader of UKIP and you lost him. And you can't see that's a giant fucking problem. Like, what's wrong with you people? Farage isn't in UKIP. Like, what is UKIP then? Now Tommy Robinson's UKIP. It's like,
yeah.
Like Farage, you should be backing Farage. Why is not everyone backing Farage? Farage is the man. You know it. If it wasn't for Farage, none of this would have started in the first place. None
Yeah.
of it.
Well, and see, I agree with that, where it's sort of like, since they lost him, now UKIP
Why
is
are you
going to, like, this
backstabbing Farage?
second string
Yeah.
players as far as Sargon and everyone else, where it's like, it's almost like they're in,
Yeah, and
like,
he's got a
it's
small
like a
fan
damage
base.
control sort of move.
Yeah, you read his fan base, the way they talk to me, it's vicious. Like, I'm being perfectly nice to Jack. I'm saying single politics does work. Here are some examples. Like, you've written a book based on, I don't know, it sounds like I'm taking a piss, but Theresa May and Brexit, I think it's called. So you've wrote a book about Theresa May and it's basically a single politic, the Brexit. So Farage is genius, and I'm worried that the reason you're backstabbing him is because you don't have a career anywhere else.
See, I'll say just in general,
I'm not being harsh. Like, I feel sorry for him. Like, his past. Like, I understand he got mixed up with the EDL by accident, but I don't know if you can understand the reputation EDL has and still has. You're done for.
Well, and you know, it's funny even because you would sort of think with that being part of the backstory. See, my whole criticism.
Send me a super chat. It's just like, dude, there's 10 people watching.
My whole my criticism towards him and Martina to some extent, not as much, but it's
I
actually
like them. Don't go. I love Martina. I think they're great guys. We could hang up, but I'm just getting concerned over this.
well, yeah, no,
And
I
and your
love
fan base are a bunch of vicious fucks.
I
If you ask any questions, and to have like an open discussion, like Jack was rude to me,
I
so now I'm just calling him a fag
well
because he didn't have any answers, and I just got loads of insults.
I'm going to say, you
Like you
know,
don't get it.
I love
What do you
him.
mean I don't get it?
I love and respect both of them. My criticism, and it's basically a criticism that Gavin McInnes makes about the right wing, a lot of right wing people in general, is they're sort of the whole thing about the right has not enough unity while the left has too much. Where it's like I get aggravated at the people that are like, you know, I mean, it's basically like it's like the caricature of the religious right, where it's like the, you know, how everyone turned their backs on Milo, or, you know, Faith Goldie spoke to Daily Stormer once in an
I
interview,
think
so
Jack's
now she's
just getting paid from
exiled.
the
Like,
rebel, and the rebel, if the rebel are gonna pick a party, they got to pick one. It's UKIP, it's not the Farage party, and you're just doing it because the rebel are only people sending you cash at the moment. I know it
yeah,
sounds hard. I mean, I'm sure they get money other places, but it's like so much for being in. Like, I don't understand why we're throwing Farage under the bus. And when I keep asking him, his excuse is, well, Farage is for upper class, UKIP is more middle lower class. I was like, what? And you must be upper class, calling me upper class. I'm like, I'm not getting any of this.
yeah, I don't know. I don't get it either, because I don't think, like, having Farage in his own party and then UKIP going, it's like, I think all it does is essentially neutralize both of them. Like, because you split the vote. Like, it's essentially, look at why the DNC
No,
had to eliminate Bernie Sanders last election around, because they wanted a Democrat to win, and if you had both Bernie and Hillary going, all it would split that vote in two and then make it where Trump wins inevitably. I mean, he did win inevitably, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't have one party going in two directions, because then all it does is help the other side win. That's why everyone says voting third party is bad, because then it just takes away votes from whichever of the other two would win. I mean, if both are going for Brexit in general, they need to unite, because neither will get it if they're just splitting the vote.
Or at least say that we're separate parties, but we would do a coalition if it came down to that. Of course we would.
Yeah.
That's 100% on the table, coalition.
But I just think, as far as the numbers go, it's never a smart strategy.
Because if UKIP did a coalition with the Brexit party, they lose nothing, right? Because it's a single party policy, UKIP want that policy. So they'd have nothing to lose, right? Am I being fair or am I twisting it?
No, as far as I can tell, I think you are.
It'd be a win-win, right? It'd
Yeah.
be ridiculous to turn it down. And then Brexit party would say, oh, well, we'd have to adopt UKIP's ideologies too. So that's a win. Lose them, they'd probably hopefully go for it. But the finish is what people aren't, like the bigger picture, which you're nearly sort of explaining, is what's going to happen is the people that wanted the Brexit, that aren't really very comfortable with things, that are going UKIP and Brexit party, they're divided, like you said. But on the other side, they've just given up too, because they know democracy doesn't mean anything. That they've been lied to by both parties over Brexit. So the main attitude in England is, we're not voting again. It's going to be the worst turnouts ever. People are just not going to bother, because they know there's no point now.
Yeah.
They know it. Like, I know Alex Jones has been saying it for ages. I've been saying it for ages. Now everyone gets it. It's not just people that listen to Alex Jones that gets it. So that means that they can push whatever they want through now, and there's little to no resistance, because the people are that demoralised. It's Project Fear.
Yeah.
There is no hope. So no one on the other side of the spectrum are going to vote. They've given up. And people on our side are going to give up. So they'll be like, well, we can't get together on our side, and we've got no control. So let's just not bother.
Well, and that's the
And then we're going to get more and more stuff passed, and everyone's just going to be like, ah, can't, not again. We just done Brexit. We had what, 4 years of it, and nothing's happened. 3 years of it, and like it's just yelling, it's just divided. And that's the other thing. It's called Great Division. So it just seems like it's just played, yeah,
yeah.
pretty bad. And I
Well,
don't understand why Jack doesn't get that.
I don't know. I
This
think
is to
it's
make people never get involved in politics again, and they won't
yeah. I
on
think it's
both sides.
I think sometimes people just have a hard
And
time
that's why
pulling
single
back from it when they're so involved and invested.
until England gets out of Europe, 100% with no deal, no one's gonna have any faith on any sides, but they'll be still divided.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because that's the main issue with it is that it's like there was a
And
vote
then they
and the
can just
vote
do
was
what they
just
want. They
kind
can put
of
anyone in for Prime Minister. No one's going to care. Honestly, no one's going to care. Put who the fuck you want up there. Like the most Bilderberg, Rothschild, grooming kid you want. Like everyone's going to be like, yeah, fuck it, stick him in then. A
yeah,
Muslim mayor for London again. Yeah, fuck it. Who cares? Fuck it.
yeah.
And that is what's happened to England.
Well, and to some extent, even I can say over in America, that's why I get so kind of like baffled by because, and then, people may not like get this from the podcasts we do and stuff like that, but I tell people all the time when they're like, oh, well, Donald Trump and the whole world is going to end because a Republican is in office. And it's like, all right, besides the fact that this guy is,
It's not really a Republican,
yeah,
though.
yeah, I was going to say that. Besides that, but it's like, I can tell you from being alive during Bush Sr., Bill Clinton, Bush Jr., Obama, now Trump, the throughout all of that time, the amount
Yeah,
that the
but people
federal
actually liked Trump before he was president.
well, I was just gonna say the amount that the federal government has affected my life, like in a substantial way, is like when I was told I have to sign up for Obamacare or get a fine on my taxes. Other than that, we've gone from one party to the other to back to the other to the next one, and it's like the impact is minimal, minimal. So when people are like having this whole sky is gonna fall attitude, I'm just like, where have you been? Like, what are you worried about? Like, it's like I'm very sort of dismissive and almost like it doesn't matter and it's irrelevant and the vote doesn't, like, I get that attitude even myself to some extent, but it's like I actually am getting that attitude from the experience I've had, like, rather than what the politicians are saying and stuff like that, where it's like what's going to happen is going to happen regardless to some extent, like, because it may be because of things like the deep state or corporate lobbyists or more power being in Silicon Valley than in the government. Like, the reasons are numerous, but it's to some extent it's fact of the matter. Like, what can you say to someone who voted for Brexit and then the politicians just ignore them? What can you say to them to convince them to go vote again and make them think it's not going to get ignored again?
Yep. And I already had that feeling before Brexit, but it's never like in your face that that's really how it is.
Yeah.
So I got invited to speak for UKIP as well when I went to the march. They tried to sign me up to like be a speaker for them. And I was like, dude, so the guy who asked me, the leader of it, he's got like a radio show as well.
Uh-huh.
So we were talking for a bit. And he's like, oh, you're so young. Like, you'd be great because young image. I was like, dude, I'm older. I'm way older than you. So I look pretty young.
Yeah.
So, but then I think I just blackpilled him so hard that even he's thinking again about it because he was like going, Viva France, Viva France. I was like, France? What do you mean, Viva France?
Yeah.
He's like, the French Revolution. It's like, bro, come on, it's not a revolution, is it? He was like, what do you mean? It's like France is just on fire and they're letting it burn. So they introduced more socialism when they started. They're going to end up in a bigger hole. And I said, like, look at Estonia. I went for the internet thing. Everyone's gonna have an internet ID to get the money they need to survive. Based on what they do, they have to register everything, spend like everything to get travel, get discount on that. Like France, if they wanted to shut that riot down, it would shut down fucking. Of course, they'd shut it down.
Yeah.
They don't want it shut down because Macron, like France, like fuck that. If anything, we should go to war with France whilst they're down.
Just colonize it.
Invaded them. I said that, and like everyone laughed.
I mean,
I was like, now you're more of this FIFA France. Like, Yellowfest, their demands is obviously been,
yeah, it's been co-opted. It's definitely been co-opted. You could tell that, like you said, from the list of demands. Speaking of lists of demands, you know what I thought was funny? I actually was looking up this morning Hitler's 25 points for the Nazi Party. I mean, let me tell you, he basically wrote the he basically wrote the Green New Deal before AOC was even a sperm cell in her father's balls. Like, I mean that.
You got into just quick. Yeah, you got me just quickly. When the UKIP was on, they had Extinction Rebellion doing a protest as well. So I got to debate two scientists that teach at Southampton University on carbon. And to be fair, for the first time, Extinction Rebellion said that I won the debate quite clearly, and it took me about 6-7 minutes.
Yeah, it's.
And this isn't funny. Like I was like trying to, like, people were laughing, like at the end, like everyone's giving me high fives, like getting me the beer, going, "Oh, you're the man!" Like my friends were like, "Oh, we thought you were just like a dick. Like how did you debate like that? How did you learn to?" Like riddle. You even got the scientists arguing between themselves.
That's great. I wish I saw that.
It's not funny because I said at the beginning of the debate, I said I don't know anything about science. Like I'm not just saying that. Like I'm pretty dumb when it comes to science. I've probably got an F. I don't really understand how science works. But what the point is when science and experts is just like the new priest class. You say you're science, but I don't think you're applying any science at all. So, so the first thing I said, I just want to stick to carbon tax. That's it. Just change my mind that carbon tax. I said carbon tax is just what's it called? It's a transfer of wealth. Change my mind. You Stephen Crowder approach. I said that carbon tax is just a transfer of wealth. Has nothing to do with saving the planet. Change my mind. And he went, so you think So the first time he said, so he didn't really have anything to say. So I said, well, is carbon a pollutant or is it just a trace element? And he goes, well, if I put you in a room and just filled it with carbon, it would kill you, wouldn't it? So it must be a pollutant. I was like, bro, that's not science. Come on. Like what? It's like if you put me in a room of water, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
If you put me in a room full of tea bags, I'm gonna die. Like that's not even science.
But now here's
that's what everyone just laughed.
Here's the flip side of that though. If you took that same room filled with carbon and replaced you with a tree though, the tree would grow and do well and it would turn the carbon into oxygen. So if you were in there and it was you and a tree, you'd both end up all right because you'd both end up feeding each other back and forth.
Don't encourage him, Jamie.
I'm just saying, like that. See, that's the thing, you know, and it's because I do gardening and growing plants and all of that. That's why I always look at it from that perspective, where it's like my simple solution is like, oh, there's an overabundance of the stuff that we exhale that the plants need, so we need more plants. That's all that, like, ta-da, carbon emissions problem solved, like, grow some more stuff. Isn't there, like, aren't we concerned about world hunger or something? Well, we got CO2, that's one of the things the plants need. Oh, well, let's just get some dirt and some seeds and have at it. Like, the whole idea, like, the transfer of wealth thing and everything, like, it's such a con that it's like, there's such simple solutions to it. Like, I don't know, and it sucks working at a health food restaurant. I'll be up front and I'll hear people talking. It's like I just have to go to the back because it's like when I hear people talking like the the fate of the environment hinges upon plastic straws and cow farts. I'm like, you are so far off base that you don't even know. It's just all virtue signaling. Virtue signaling is I mean, I feel like when people talk about it and they chalk things up to it very simply, it downplays the human sort of drive to be accepted and to appear as if they're in the in crowd and stuff, where it's like the drive in humans to virtue signal is so great in a lot of people that, like, I mean, I've had friends of mine come to me where it's like, you know, oh, I was hearing my parents talk about building the wall, and like I hear them talk, and it's like you realize that they aren't even thinking about the economic implications or the social implications or the demographic implication. And I'm like, no, because it's all just wall bad, wall racist, I good. Like, it's that simple. But there is a burning desire for them to espouse this stuff because then it makes them as part of the bourgeoisie.
Well, the next part of my debate, I didn't do very well. I need to work on this. I just did the obvious, you know, what carbon's in the atmosphere now as a percentage? What do you want it to be? And what would it be without humans here? And he was like, to be honest, I don't know. And I was like, well, so much for this. Because he was like, at first, it's very patronising for me. They're like going, these are two PhD scientists. They were taking a piss at me at first. I'm not going to lie. And I was pretty gentlemanlike about it. So when I'm being sarcastic to them, there was a build-up where they belittled me quite a lot. And I went along with it because I'm there to learn from scientists. I really am. Like, I don't understand science. So if I get a chance to speak to someone that teaches PhD science, I want to know that hopefully
you're going to assume they know something you don't, hopefully.
Yeah, and to come out with stuff, well, if I fill a room with carbon, it would kill you. I think it's just belittling me, really.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he pulled out this graph from the IPCC, and he said, look, this is carbon's going up, parts per million. It doesn't really answer my question, but the graphs do show that. But what is the IPCC? And he didn't know what it stood for, so he had to, like, check on his phone. And it's like, oh, they're a group of scientists that, you know, do tell us, you know, what's going to happen to your environment. I said, no, they're not. They're a lobbyist group. The IPCC are not scientists. Not one scientist in the IPCC. And I don't know this. I'm bullshitting at this point.
Yeah.
There ain't one scientist in that group. It's like, they're not a lobbyist group. I said, just type in IPCC into Google and just see what kind of articles come up. Lobbyist. Like, the two go hand in hand. Like, what do they do? Well, they're non-government organisation raises money into research to get policy changed. Like,
lobbyist group, right there. Yeah. What else does a lobbyist group do? Yeah.
We need to, like, get our terms right. Like, you're a scientist. Are there any scientists in the IPCC? And it's like, of course, it's full of scientists. Like, can you name any and what science are into? It's like, I would have to look. It's like, so anyway, the reason we bring this up is I brought the 97. I said that data is fudged, and I went through the scandal, the bath scandal, which when they wouldn't release the data, models were on it. You've heard it. So I explained what the scandal was. Like, their models couldn't predict the past. Any numbers they put in produced the same results. You got the emails them telling to fudge the results, and then the 97% of scientists, which is their big claim. And I said the 97% turns out to be 64 out of 11,000. And he said, no, it's not. And I offered to show him the data, but I didn't have any network on my phone. He wouldn't let me borrow his phone to use Google to show him the sources.
Yeah.
And he's going, what are you going to bring up? Like, bizarro stuff online? And I was like, you just insulted me again. Can I choose your phone to bring up articles? We'll get a mixture. We'll get, like, science, like, orgs, and we'll get, especially I think the big ones are the Forbes articles, which go into how the data's run. And I think Forbes is pretty, you must be able to accept that. I said also I would bring up stuff like Alex Jones, stuff like that, but I know you're not going to accept it. So I will go mainstream with it, that this was a real scandal, and it wasn't 11,000 scientists agree. It was 64. I think about 64% of them didn't care either way. Not didn't care, they didn't have an opinion on it.
Yeah. Well, and
So,
here's the...
So then I had to borrow... So he wouldn't let me use his phone to get it. And then I had to get someone from the audience to let me use their phone to prove that this was the case. He kept going, well, all you're doing is you're looking at data that backs up your philosophy and your ideologies. That's all you're doing, and I could do that. And you just need to look at the bigger picture that we're destroying the planet with carbon. I'm like, you're just saying that I can't research. Like, I'm here and I'm not willing to look at the other side. I'm talking to a scientist who's got teacher's PhD to change my mind.
Well, and the other thing too is like correlation doesn't equal causation.
You haven't got anything.
What can they point to and say this happened to the environment? It's a result of carbon increase.
Well,
like there isn't.
He said, no, hang on. This is what he said. He said the 97%. What it could be is that could be another 97%, and they've done it again since, and they do agree. So you're probably talking about a different one. And I was like,
that's ridiculous.
Right, no.
Well, and here's my question to that would be, okay, what other things do 97% of scientists agree on? Because I guarantee you there isn't anything. I guarantee you 97% of scientists don't agree on evolution. I guarantee you 97% of scientists don't agree on if there could be life on Mars.
He made a joke about flat Earth. He goes, well,
oh, of course.
Flat Earth. You know, people look at information, they think you're flat Earth. And I said, look, I used the Benjamin quote. I said, look, I believe the Earth's round. I do, but I'm having a really hard time proving it.
Yeah.
And the flat Earthers, whether you like it or not, are way better scientists than you, even if they're completely wrong. At least they're doing science.
Yeah.
They're actually asking a question and trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like all you're doing is just belittling me.
Well, and the other thing too is,
and then for the Extinction Rebellion, I thought I was going to get punched and stuff thrown at me. They all got on my side. They were like, yeah, like this is where it goes wrong. Like we could agree on 90% of what's wrong on the planet, but you won't give up this carbon tax. And when I talk to you about it, you're just belittling me, and you've got no science. And what's worrying is you're teaching science. I've not had any science.
Well, it's the priest class
thing.
thing.
You're saying science is you're just saying you're a priest class.
Yeah, and it's basically you can't question that which we take on faith, like that you know.
If you wear a white coat, yeah. It also suggests that if you wear a white coat, you're beyond corruption.
Well, because that's the thing too. Like
scientists are not human. They can take their emotions out of it. They can't be bribed. They're just completely legit. It's
well,
like,
and one of the things I looked into, and this is part of the corruption thing, because I've seen things on this where it's like these governments offer tons of money because, again, they want to create policy out of this and transfer the wealth. So they create tons of grants and different incentives for scientists to basically prove climate change. So it's like they're basically being given the end point where they're saying, prove that carbon is affecting the climate and we will give you $2 million to fund the research. So it's not $2 million to, you know, analyze the effect that carbon has on the environment. It's $2 million to prove that carbon is having a negative impact. Like the conclusion is already given to them from the start. And then it's like basically just saying, we'll pay you to make the data fit the conclusion we want.
Yeah, but we've had weather modifications since 18...
See, you and I know that, but I guarantee you these scientists don't.
We've had weather modification for like 120 years. We never hear about.
And that's a question I would love to ask scientists. Is just in
affecting our climate, right?
I would, yeah,
we've been doing for 120 years now.
I would love to ask a scientist that. How much do you factor weather modification programs into your climate models? Because it's mainstream media that China has come out and said that we can guarantee perfect weather for the Olympics. I mean, I even saw one of these countries, I don't know if it was China, Russia, India, one of them though basically came out and was like, this is our weather modification base, and if you look, it's identical to HARP. And they've been saying that that HARP isn't a weather modification base for forever, even though we all know it is. And then other countries are building replicas and being like, look at our weather modification base, fuck you. Like, it's so obnoxious.
He was putting out slogans. I said, do you believe the slogan? Like this was like after he won, we did some after talk. Like before I did the 97%, I put £50 on it. Because he wouldn't accept us, so put £50 on it, and after a while he didn't pay up the 50 quid in front of everyone.
Yeah, they don't.
And so he goes, no, what I'll do is I'll look into it and you can come back next month and I'll prove it wrong. I was like, that wasn't the bet, bro.
Yeah. I always think it's interesting. Like, I even saw an interesting video where it was two sides debating the vaccination thing, and, you know, it was like, you had these doctors even who were like, I know there's, you know, side effects and this, and that, but I feel as if the side effects, you know, and the greater good and this, and that. And I was surprised that they actually brought on anti-vaccination doctors who were like, well, you know, when you say it's 1 in a million, you're actually talking about the rate of this, but the rate of this side effect is actually 1 in 3,000, and the rate of this is 1 in 2,000. And it was like, it was interesting finally seeing two sides that are both in the industry, both having their facts, but it's always interesting how the anti-mainstream source knows the one side's facts and wants to debunk them, when the people on the mainstream side only know the set of talking points. Like, and they don't know any further than the talking points. So they'll say, well, it's 1 in a million chance of side effect, and the other side is like, no, that's only for this specific side effect. These other ones are 1 in 3,000, 1 in 1,000, 1 in 200, 1 in whatever, and it's like, you know, it worries me when the mainstream side isn't even aware enough of their opposition's point. Like, it's the whole thing. I think it's Crowder that basically says, you know, you have to be able to argue for the other side in order to know that your side is the correct one. Like, you have to know their arguments and yours.
I did say that at the end, yeah.
Like, you have to know your argument and theirs in order to win properly. That's art of warfare, basically. You know your enemy's moves before they make it.
Yeah, exactly. He had these slogans. They had these slogans behind him, and one of them was animal farming it contributes the most to carbon. And I said that slogan behind you, I can't remember if it's like we need to go vegan. Animal farming is responsible for most of the carbon. I said, is that scientific? And he said, yeah, I've seen scientific studies on that. I was like, oh, which ones? Obviously, it's like, oh well, it's like, isn't China and India the biggest problem for carbon? Surely China and India, it's got to be a bigger. That's got to be. Like, I'm not a scientist, but I would have thought that's the biggest carbon pushers.
Well, and
China and India.
The interesting thing.
And it was going, well, even if it was, what's your point? I was like, I thought you said that the slogans you used were based on science, is one. I've just debunked it in like 2 seconds and you got nothing. And that proves my point. If England does go along with this, let's say you are right and we all go along with this and we all do this carbon tax, we can't afford anything. China and India aren't going to implement it.
Well, yeah.
They're still going to have carbon.
I see, and I've seen that too, where it's basically like,
how are you going to get China and India on board?
Well, you basically need a global tyranny to take over and invade these other... Like, I watched someone debate this, and they brought that up. They said, you know, well, China and India, what about them?
Just before I forget, you nearly nailed it. This is what it is.
Did you cut out? Okay.
So what it is, it really is no different to what the church was doing with the priest class. They're saying that you're born a sinner, and because you're such a... Yeah, it's the same as the priest class was saying. Because you're born a sinner, you have to pay redemption to the church. You have to actually pay with money. And this is a tax on kids, telling kids that they can't have a family, they've got no future, and yes, they pay you guys.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is like, you know, even if they did
Same thing,
make
isn't
it where you know you can't have meat, do you tell me the Queen of England isn't going to still have a steak? Like it's going to
Yeah, I
create
think that's like Leonardo DiCaprio's doing have his private jet.
yeah, it's going to create the biggest wealth disparity between the rich and the poor that the world could even imagine. That's why I've always called it environmental feudalism, because that's what it's going to create, a completely feudal society where the rich will still have jets and steaks, and then everyone else will just be given soybeans and, you know, shit like that. But the whole thing is with India and China, I mean, I think it was actually a video I had of that guy, Barely Informed Elad, who I really like when he goes out and interviews these protesters. So he's bringing up to someone who's protesting for the Green New Deal about India and China, and he's like, you know, most of the emissions come from them. So even if we go all green, all vegan, all whatever, if 80% of emissions come from them, what about it? And they say, well, we'll just lead by example, and then after they see how well we do it, they'll want to do it too. And it's like, what ego and arrogance does it take to make you think that they are going to ruin their upward trajectory and just sort of scrap everything and start over for the sake of like your wild conspiracy theory? It's so unrealistic that it's like these people, but it's that virtue signaling
we're already
thing.
getting voluntary carbon tax. People are trying to put that in.
Really? That's insane. I mean, and it's the other thing too I've heard people mention is, okay, taxing has solved which problem? Like, we said we wanted we said we wanted a war on poverty and you know, we've been taxing people for a welfare state in order to try to achieve that. How far have we gotten? Not very far at all. You know, these war on concepts never pan out. The war on drugs, more people are addicted than ever. It doesn't matter how much you tax people or anything like that. And it's like, I don't know. The whole thing is stupid.
The cops weren't really, they did not, usually they support protesters. This one, they were like, fuck them.
Yeah.
Which is quite funny.
One of the other things too that you know, I used to, and it's when I was a liberal, I always used to look at things through this angle, and it boggles me that more liberals don't. Is asking the question, well, who's going to benefit from this? And now these people see their whole thing is, I guess they chalk it up to, we all will, because the earth will be a better place. And it's like, okay, so if we, you know, shut down the meat industry and have everyone as vegans and stuff like that, who benefits? Well, it's been shown that people fed a all plant-like diet have a hard time thinking. It's hard for them to concentrate. I mean, I even saw a video recently about the collapse of vegan YouTube, where it's like you basically had a bunch of really hot girls that were making videos promoting a vegan, healthy, raw lifestyle, and now they're all having to eat eggs and salmon and being like, I was destroying my health. I feel 1,000,000 times better. And of course, they're being attacked by the people that used to be their fans and followers because they've left the religion, basically. They left the faith. And it's like, who benefits from the populace if we were all having this vegan fog brain and we're all extra docile from not having any meat product? It's like the people that have power over us. Like, the people in power would realize this. Like, it's funny, actually, even recently, I was talking to these two Vassar kids, that you know, liberal arts kids and everything like that, and I was telling them how, you know, in Edward Bernays' book, Propaganda, he says that the whole thing about you market things towards the women make decisions for the men, and men would follow. And one of them said, they said, you know, I never thought about it, but you're right. women can use their sex appeal to gain power in ways that men can't, because men can be very easily manipulated by women. And I said, yes. I said, women have tons of power. I said, but as long as the power structure has them unaware of that, they can then be controlled and manipulated. I said, that's the whole thing. I said, you have these feminists and women fighting for empowerment, but meanwhile, they're blinded to the power they already have, and so they can't utilize it or, you know, act upon it. They're being told that, you know, instead of them gaining power and control in the ways that they always have through men and through families, that they're then supposed to get it through what? Corporate power? Through a promotion? Through what? And who benefits from that? The corporations. I said, do you really think the people in power didn't like having their tax base doubled when women went into the workforce? I said, do you think the corporations, when the workforce doubled, didn't enjoy that lowered raises? I said, so yeah, women are looking, oh, well, now we can work, now we can be more independent, this, and that. I said, but the corporate power structure and the political power structure, that's the ones that we should really take issue with. They were the ones that benefited ultimately. And they were like, I never thought of it like that. I'm like, because you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to look at the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, the only other thing I've been up to recently, like completely changed or something, it's just
It's alright.
because it's like May Day, like I've been on Bow Watch for a while,
Uh-huh.
but like nothing's really happened. I thought something ritualistic would go down. It's been fairly quiet. Like, I don't know, I'm just distancing myself from politics a lot these days as well.
Yeah.
I just don't really care anymore. I know it sounds bad. Probably not good for the podcast, but I'm just like, I don't know if it's just because now I'm not a hermit, I'm socializing more. But I just think I just don't know.
Well, I think
It's not interesting. I don't know what's happened in the last couple of, it's like I've had an
nothing.
awakening where I'm
Nothing.
not
That's
even
part of
often
it.
checking the news anymore. It's like, fuck it.
Well, that's part of it. Is, I mean, I check it just by when I open up my YouTube and see what's going on. But the thing is nothing is really going on. I mean, and it's, you know, I don't know if you saw, I did a video on the Sonic the Hedgehog movie thing. Like, people were
Oh yeah, I saw the trailer for that.
Well, and see, my whole point about that is I basically said, you know, everyone's freaking out about Sonic being a bad render, and it's really just body proportion. The legs aren't skinny enough, the hands aren't big enough, this, and that. And I said, if they took my favorite childhood character, Mega Man, and made a movie about him, but instead of him having the big anime eyes that he normally does, and they gave him normal eyes, I wouldn't care, because I'd be grateful enough that they were making the movie. And I said, but the thing is it's like, back in the day when you had print media, you only had a limited number of space. You only had so much you could put, and that's why you had to have the who, what, where, when, and why. Nowadays, we have the endless space, the black hole of the internet for all of this garbage to fall into. So there needs to be a new outrage every other day and a new scandal and everything like that. Now, the thing about the Sonic thing that I really don't like is the director has said he's going to go back in and fix it. So now, post the movie already being done, the director is saying he's going to have them go back and redo all of the CGI for the character render. And it's like, these people are no longer fans now. Now they are through mob
Why
out.
the fuck are we talking about the most shittest films? I don't care about
Well,
that.
see, and that's see. Hold on, that was my big point. That was my big point. Is I said,
brain cancer.
well,
thanks to you now.
my whole point was, you know, that first off, it's a bad idea in the first place. So
It wasn't a bad idea in the first. It could have been done.
But see,
That
but the
wasn't
other
it.
thing I think about is
It would have been hard to pull.
it's not made for me. It's a kids movie. I think it's a bad idea to take any of these characters and try to transfer them to live action. So it's gonna end up.
Yeah, live action wouldn't work. You could do a great cartoon.
Yeah. So I would
3D
say
cartoon.
I have no interest in it.
3D cartoon. Sonic the Hedgehog 3D.
I have no interest in it, and I think it's a bad idea from the start. But I think it shows so much about the cultural problems going on, where it's like this endless need for constant news flow, even when there's nothing important to talk about. That's the first problem, is that there has to be a new outrage every other day, just for these journalists to justify their existence. And then the fact that there's endless space for them to put this shit out into. It's not like when you had a paper and you had to just put the who, what, where, when, and why of an important story. And it's just, that's why I'm bored with it all, basically. Where it's like, I just don't care anymore. Like, whether it's, and it's, that's the whole problem, is it's almost like there's a constant need for news, even when there isn't anything of importance going on.
I just think it's the same with all films. It's just a remake, or it's just there's no original content coming through, and it's a sign of society. It's pretty close to collapse. When art gets that bad, when we're on like Alien 600, we're on Back to the Future Part 20. And I don't even like this is it. I can't even name films. I just don't even follow it now, but. I don't get these, like, I asked my friends to recommend films.
And you know it was even worse.
Listen to this, thank God. They're like, what film should I watch? They're like, I wrote them down. They were all like Marvel comic films. I was like, you guys really don't know me very well.
Well, and see, here's the even worse thing, because when I did the thing on the Sonic, I did 3 videos. I reviewed Milo's new book, the Sonic thing, and then I did a review of Avengers Endgame. My biggest problem with Avengers Endgame was all it was callbacks to the previous films that led up to this one. So it's like, that's how uncreative and uninventive these things are, where it's like, they're doing sequels that are, the entire sequel is just a reference to all the other movies. Like, it was like
that's all they can sell it on, it's just a brand.
It was like a 3-hour tribute to everything they've already done, where it's like, you're not even reinventing things now, you're just calling back to what you've already done. Like, it's, I don't know, it just has me very disinterested in a lot of it at this point.
Like, even if I bring it up now, like, I saw some good films, a lot of people go, oh, like, a lot of people are disheartened with films in general. I was like, no, I watched X Machina, that was a great film. I mentioned, what was Spring Breakers? What was the other film he did? I can never remember what it was called.
Neon Demon?
Not Neon Demon. What was the other one we reviewed? Where there's all those conspiracies going on. And the dog killer.
Oh, Silver Lake.
Oh, yeah.
Under the Silver Lake. Yeah, every so often and that's the thing, like, all of my favorite movies have essentially been my favorite movies since I was 16, like Memento, Donnie Darko, Clockwork Orange, like, and it's like, that's what I feel, you'd have better luck finding an old movie that's, like, even recently, you know, a movie I found that I really enjoyed, Insomnia. It's like, Al Pacino and Robin Williams, and it's like a psychological thriller horror movie. Like, you have better luck going.
I don't think I've seen that. I might check it out.
Yeah, it's worth checking out. You have better luck finding a movie from the 90s or early 2000s or even older and finding a gem that you never saw before than trying to find something in the newer nonsense. It's just Hollywood and media is really crap right now.
Yeah, I was trying to explain that to Pass. It's like, why don't you dance in the club? It's like, it's kind of difficult to take a musician to a club. I don't want to sound like a snob, but obviously I do dance. And then I told him the Joe Bonamassa story I've got. I was like, dude, I promise you, next time Joe Bonamassa comes to town, because you're the guy, I will get you in there, and we'll be dancing. He's like, you can't dance to a guitarist. I was like, dude, he plays 50s, 60s rock and roll.
Yeah.
I'll be dancing, trust me. DJDs, like, as long as it's got a real musician to it, man, I'm good.
Well, that's why, you know, DJ.
You not seen me at a Prince concert. Like, I have my moments I lose it, man. Like, I love dancing to music.
DJing that kind of electronic music.
I can't dance to a robot, so I'm not going to try because it looks ridiculous. It's uncomfortable. There's nothing good about dancing to music that I hear. It's nothing good.
DJing that kind of music is so easy because of that.
But Smashing Pumpkins on, I can't help but dance. Even as Smashing Pumpkins, I end up dancing and bopping to that.
Yeah, it's just
This crap I listen to. It's just
everything coming out nowadays is crap.
Anyway, and that bombshell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alright,
they've
well
already
let's...
started fucking up. Wait till they rebuild the Notre Dame, man.
Yeah, I know. I've seen some of the
That's gonna
pictures of
look
how they
proper shit.
wanna do it. But alright, well let's wrap it up for the day. I got some stuff around the house I gotta get done.
Yeah, we need a new podcast. Fuck politics, man. I'm gonna come up with something else. We should just do music and computer games like everyone else.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I've been focusing a lot on my other channel and just doing video game streams and media reviews of stuff. I've been trying to diversify because, like you said, it's been kind of dry and boring lately as far as the political stuff goes. And I think that's what causes a lot of the infighting and bickering and gossip stuff, where it's like, you know, all these journalists, like, you see the way they're running Sargon through the mud, and it's like, the question I just ask is, well, what else would they be doing otherwise? What else would they write about otherwise?
Yeah, they've kind of given up on that now, though.
Yeah.
They did, but now they've given up on that, yeah.
Well, because he won't back down. See, and that's one of the other...
Yeah, his road to Storm, yeah, Storm.
That's one of the other criticisms I would always have, you know, and again, I love her, so this is a criticism completely from a loving perspective, but when controversies would face Martina, the way she would handle it is she would always get worried and, you know, oh, my job, and, you know, kind of like cower down a bit. And it's like, you know, if I had it where, you know, Vogue and every other mainstream media magazine was smearing me about Pizzagate, please believe I would be on YouTube that day doing a live stream discussing Pizzagate. Like, I mean, I would ride that wave just endless. I mean, and that's what Candace Owens did. I know people, you know, even on the left and right kind of don't like her and bicker about her, but Candace Owens is Candace Owens because doubling down. Like, she basically saw what Trump did, where it's like, you know, they'd come out one day and be like, Trump is a racist. He said Mexicans are all, you know, rapists and blah, blah.
Yeah, they stormed it in the UK.
And then the next day he'd tweet on Cinco de Mayo, Trump Tower has the best Mexicans. Here's a picture of me with a taco bowl. Like, I mean, it was just ridiculous, like, and endless. And it's like, if you show them that the attacks aren't going to work and aren't going to stop you, they'll eventually stop attacking because they realize it's doing nothing for them. That's why with Sargon, after they started the attacks, he put out some video of, like, him on a boat, like, making jokes and being like, mainstream media says some controversial, I say controversial stuff. Now I'm about to say the N-word, nigga, and then it, like, just cuts off. Like, it's just him basically poking them all right back and being like, if you're telling me not to do something, I'm gonna do it twice. And it's like, that's the approach you have to take with these people. If they tell you it's bad to talk about something,
the thing that Britain got to be, like, all I see now is we had the local elections come up. All the Polish shops have got, like, vote for this minority that's for the Conservative Party. And it's like, that's what's going to happen. I even had a word with the Polish guy in a shop. I was like, what are you doing? It's like, what do you mean? It's like, why have you got a Conservative poster on your shop? He's like, oh, she wants to pull it up and she's Chinese. I was like, you're a Polak. And it's like, so? It's like, don't tell us how to fucking vote in our country, dude. Come on. Are you seeing any British people supporting the Conservatives around here? Anything? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if I went to Poland and started telling you guys how to vote?
Well, see, and that always bothered me about the whole thing when they were talking about, you know, foreign nations influencing Americans' elections like it's some horror. And it's like, meanwhile, Obama goes over to the UK and says, you know, we can't allow you to leave the European Union. Then he goes over to France and says, make sure you support Macron. And it's like... It's like Obama campaigns for elections all over the world, and meanwhile, if another country even says we prefer this candidate over the other, you act like they're doing some high war crime? Fuck that. Such hypocrites. But
yeah, the other Polish pubs got it as well, and I was like, oh, what policies do you like about the Conservatives? And they're like, just stuck their nose up. I was like, well, why have the poster up then, you fucking Polak?
Yeah.
Not one British shop or one anywhere is. I've not. The only Oh.
And that's annoying though. When
You've been here 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's annoying if you have someone who's like not an immigrant from the area supporting a candidate that no one in the actual area supports.
Yeah.
But
If I was a Polak, I'd have a UKIP or something. I would just take the piss.
yeah.
Obviously.
But all right, let's wrap things up, and we'll.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not keen on the Polacks.
Nah.
It can piss me off a lot. All
right. We'll come up with some topics throughout the week to talk about next week.
We will.
Hopefully. But,
all right.
All right. I'll catch you later, man.
It's nice to catch up though. Anyway, man.
Yeah.
I like a good rant.
All right.
All right.
I'll talk to you later.
Have a good weekend, man.
You too.
All right.
Bye.